Hi guys, Steph here. Look at this handsome, lovely pen. Yet another pen that I found in a box of many pens, if you like, that I thought, wow, that pen deserves to be restored, reviewed, and enjoyed by somebody. It's a gorgeous, handsome fountain pen. Look at that. So as I said, I found it rummaging about in one of the boxes. I've fully restored it, cleaned everything. We've put a brand new sack in the pen. It also needed a new J-bar, which I've fitted, and it's now ready to go. And we need to find a new home for it. In fact, if we don't find a new home for it, I'm quite happy keeping this one in my own collection because it is a rather large pen. And when I say large, from the top of the cap to the bottom of the barrel, around about 135 millimeters capped. Around the barrel, it's a lovely 13 millimeters in diameter. So a rather, I'm going to class it as a rather oversized pen. It's a lot chunkier and bigger than most standard pens, in gorgeous condition. You can see it comes in this beautiful green and black marbling. It's got gold fill trim. You see it's got the lever there. We've got two cap bands to the bottom of the cap, as you can see there, and a gold coloured clip. This is a ball clip to the very top of the cap, as you can see there, in very nice condition. And to the top we've got this black finial or cap stud to the top of the cap. Now the slight problem, well, it's not a problem really for me, but this pen does not have any barrel imprint, any sort of name on the clip, or, well, there's no name at all to who actually made the pen. The only sort of slight clue that we've got is this lever here. You can see it's a large sort of spoon lever, and hopefully you can see there it's got this 4-leaf sort of shamrock logo to the lever. Okay, so that is the only indication of who may have made this particular pen. Now the shamrock lever, I've actually seen them on, well, there were pens made by Lang Co Ltd. Very briefly, let's go into it. I think this pen is one of the pens under the Summit umbrella, and I believe it may be actually a Lang pen, or maybe even a Summit pen, or last but not least a Curzon pen, because, well, Lang Co Ltd, established around about 1899. Lang Co Ltd, they formed a new company called Curzon Ltd and McGregor Limited, and they moved into Liverpool. And then CLM Limited, they then changed their name to Curzon Limited in around about the 1920s. So then Curzon Limited and Lang Co Ltd formed another company in 1928, which they called L. Wilson Company Limited. Now this company was initially based at South Hunter Street in Liverpool, and eventually the long-term home of Summit Pens Limited. That was the name, Summit Pens Limited, was the name that Curzon Ltd adopted immediately after World War II, because I believe Curzon used the Summit name because their pens were, well, the Summit name, you know, the pens they made became very popular, so they kept the Summit, they kept the Summit name, and Summit Pens Limited ceased trading or making pens, I believe, around about the mid-1950s. So, does that make sense? I hope so. So, yeah, it was a sort of a complicated matter at the time. It was a time when, you know, people made pens for other pen manufacturers, for other companies, if you like. I also believe this may have been made by the same company that made Rosemary pens, and that company was the British Carbon Paper Company, who I believe at the time Lang made pens for them. But yeah, British Carbon Paper, they were like, if you like, the office supply company of that particular period, you know, maybe 1920s, 1930s. So I'm dating this pen around about the 1930s. And as I said, for me personally, I think it's made by the Lang Company, who, as we've just mentioned, under the same umbrella of Curzon pens, because I've actually seen, again, this particular lever on a couple of Curzon pens that I've had in the past. So a little bit complicated, I know. Hope you kept up with me on that. But a pen, I honestly believe, made by Lang's under the Summit umbrella, and possibly even made by Curzon. There's also actually a Summit pen, the S121, which they called the giant of the range in Summit, which was, you know, pretty well the same size as this particular pen. And that, as I say, was the Summit S121. Looked very similar to this pen, but in that particular case, it had the Summit barrel imprint. So I hope you've kept up to now with all that. So let's carry on looking at the pen. As I say, rather an oversized pen, but the main thing about it, it's a very handsome fountain pen. Very, very nice indeed, in gorgeous condition, and as I've said, it's ready to go. You can see the threads there. You've got the section slightly concave, flares out towards the nib, and then we've got what we've got here is quite a large nib for a large pen, obviously, and this is a warranted 14 carat first quality nib, which once again is quite common for pens of that particular period, when a lot of the companies making pens for other companies used these warranted nibs, as opposed to a nib with the manufacturer's name on the nib. There's a sideways view for you. There's the feed. Lovely and clean, as it should be. Very nice indeed. And the pen size suits my large hands very nicely indeed. So, because I've put a brand new sack in the pen, I'm not going to fill the pen. I'll leave that pleasure to the new owner. But what we'll do, let me dip it into the ink to the side here, and let's see how the pen writes. So what we've got is excuse me, well, first of all, a very nice, handsome Fountain Pen. Now I'm dating this pen to around about the 1930s. It's writing very nicely indeed, as you can see. I was just going to say, does it have any flecks? Well, yeah, okay, we're running out of ink, so it doesn't matter. So yes, a little bit of flex. It's got a little bit of variation in the line, but writing very nicely. What we'll do, we'll clean that nib after the video, and as I said, try and find a new home for this gorgeous pen. So although we've put no name on it, I believe it to be a pen made by the Lang Company under the umbrella of Summit and the Curzon Pen Company. So I hope I hope this video has not confused you too much. I hope you've kept up with all the different names under the Summit name. But all in all, a very nice, handsome pen. Don't forget, leave a comment below, give the video a thumbs up if you will. Don't forget to subscribe as well. But for now, I'm just going to say Slava Ukraini from me and this handsome pen. Bye bye for now.